Yes, we here. Commission reviews. We are back again. The challenge is getting deep. It's getting
Yes,
deep,
yes.
y'all.
Camesha reviews.
Okay,
We here. We here. We in
it's
here.
getting, look. It's getting deep. The challenge. Oh, got something going on. Me and Ayanna, we be getting on here. Though, got something going on. Look, this is the challenge where all these things
Listen,
happen.
when you are a woman in America, it is a challenge. And so you got to
Mm,
be able to spin all of the plates and pick the people up and drop the people off and show
hundred
up
percent.
and be there no matter what. And so,
Yeah.
like I said, for all of Camesha viewers and everything, Camesha has written for me since day one. So I told her, I don't care neither high nor
Day
hair.
one.
I'm going to make sure that we get it in here. So let's talk about it. Let's go.
Yes. And also, I want to shout out Yana too. The thing about it, she said about me, but she's also a day one because she don't have to do it, and she does. So much respect for her every time she does it. So anyway, and the fans love it too.
Let's get it.
Let's get into Miss Kayla. Now look, Jordan and Beth, they're back to the house. Okay, Kayla is trying to figure out how to use the sabotage. Of course, she calls it a grenade, but you know where she's coming from challenge. So the
That's right. That's right.
Kellyanne and the whole beef and alliance's connection with Beth, talking about how she don't trust. Now, I don't want to say her name wrong. I always do. I always forget about it. I don't know why. Jonay isn't going to be, she can't
Yep.
trust her. We talked about this last week about the whole, saying stuff, not assuming because they're hanging out. We both talked about this last week. Now, the guys are tripping because of Darrell and Jordan. Like, Jordan took out Darrell. That was unheard of. I didn't expect it, even though, like I said, I got a hint he was going home when he mentioned about the heights in the beginning of the episode. What are your thoughts? Just getting started.
Listen, that was a meeting of the Titans, truly. Anybody could have took that. It could have been Darrell's day, it could have been Jordan's day. We're talking about two top contenders, who have historically on the challenge shown and proven their chops. So, let's go ahead and give Sean where Sean is due. Darrell fought a good fight. We talked about it last time. When that leg locks up, that the sciatic nerve is real. Folks think that they got it all together, but you tap that sciatic nerve. You tap one of those good nerves,
Yeah.
and you gonna have to sit down. And so, I think that's just what happened. You know, Jordan fought a good fight, so did Darrell. It just wasn't Darrell's day.
Right. And Wes kind of said, look, he told everybody, he said, I told you guys Jordan was just that good. I told you so. Then Wes was like, I'm gonna take over Darrell's spot, which I think is weird he said that, but he wants to take over his spot in the alliance. There's nobody else, there's only one Darrell. So I thought that was kind of whatever. But so look, take that drops this big old bomb on everybody. The authority, instead of it being six, is now two, which is gonna be extra stressful. That means only one male, one female winner goes into decides who goes to elimination. That's a lot of power to give two people. It's going to most definitely shake things up. What do you think,
It's
good
kind
or
of like
bad?
when you ever been on a job and a new company take over your job, and now all of a sudden two people got power. It
Right.
felt like that. It felt like, oh my goodness, I thought I was safe. Just when you thought it was safe, it's gonna get shook up. But that's what it is. It's All-Stars 3. It's top contenders, baby. So it is what it is.
Yes. So they have this, like, I'm not gonna say it's a boring game where they got to be throwing the rings and tossing the rings to the star of the player of who they choose, and the last man or woman standing wins, right? So Kayla picks Beth. Beth picks MJ. Beth isn't really worried about MJ. She knows she's not going to win. And,
Right.
but majority of the guys are planning to target him to protect Mark.
That's
It's
right.
crazy how it ends up. So, literally giving him the authority. Brad's feeling he's pissed about giving a win to anybody. He really is working hard for this because to me, Brad is coming from this kind of place. I have a hard time at home.
Right.
I lost my job because of COVID. I'm trying to get this money. You guys are playing games. This is real life to me. I respect Brad because of that. He's coming from a different place. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like
I
he's pissed.
respect Brad for saying it because Brad
Yes.
didn't say anything that other people weren't thinking. But Brad just
Mm,
had the cojones to say it. But it's interesting too. I was listening to, and I don't really listen to the Steve Harvey morning show like that because it coincides with when NPR comes on, and I like listening to Amy Goodman in the morning. But this particular day, I had clicked, and my radio, and Steve Harvey came on, and I mean he must have been having a moment, or must have been having a day, but he was real preachy about the fact that he said I don't care who you are. He said, I don't care if you're a multimillionaire, I don't care if you're a multi-dollaraire. I'm paraphrasing. But he said,
Yeah.
but when you have your hard times, you have your hard times. Nobody can,
Mm.
nobody can dissuade that. Money can't dissuade that. Money can't bring back when you're going through something. I think that people make an assumption that others are more well off than they are. You know, Brad is really transparent. In this episode, that look, I lost my gig and I'm trying to put my life back together, and I'm trying to
Right.
go for the big bag. Um, with the understanding that at every moment in the game, I can just go for the big bag myself. Like I don't have to give away that to anyone else. Now, my question would be for the audience is this. Okay, Brad, you mad that they're throwing the win to Mark. However, if the tables was turned and the group had decided to throw you to win, would you have all this stuff to say?
That's
Me
interesting.
personally, if I had to vote on what it could or wouldn't be, I don't think Brad would have had as much to say if he had been the one that was chosen. You know, um, I think that in this regard, you know, it's interesting. When we were on All Stars 2, Brad pulled me aside and he was talking about gameplay. And me being a somewhat of a novice to the new challenge and gameplay, I didn't take what he said to me. I didn't take it too well. You
Right.
know, now after being in a challenge myself, with the TJ Lavin style challenge,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
get what he said to me. You know what I mean? Whether I agree or disagree is irrelevant. But now I get it. I understand.
Wow.
When you have
Interesting.
when you have your own personal game, you got your own personal game, and you want
Right.
that game to trump, and of course your long-standing relationships, but you want your game to be able to be played without other people manipulating that at the same time, right? I think that Bradford gets that in this moment. He could have really just gone along with the program and just kind of held tight with his
100%.
feelings,
But
you know what I mean, and not really put himself on blast, because now if it's going to be the three of them in the room plus Brad, when I say the three of them, I'm talking Nehemiah, Mark, and Wes and Brad. They're gonna remember that Brad wasn't really down with the plan. I mean, again, we watched this episode and he tells us all of this information, he meaning Brad, in a confessional. So I'm not all the way clear whether or not in real time they really understood how how crazy he felt about that whole circumstance.
but
So
Brad has always been this way
uh,
though. He's always been this way. Brad has always represented this way about his game. In every challenge he's ever done, he's always that's what he's always been about. Was was always respected Brad
yeah, but
because
yeah, and I agree with you. I question though how committed you are to that philosophy when it doesn't benefit you, because
Mhm.
this definitely benefits Wes's game, and it benefits Mark's game, and it benefits Nehemiah's game, and because Brad wasn't a target, it could have benefited Brad's game too. Just go with the flow. You're not gonna
Right.
be an elimination, but you're not gonna get the win. Ergo, the star. I think that
But
Brad got lost in the sauce
okay.
about not getting a star. He got, what I mean, he got lost in the sauce, and you know, it is what it is. But again, I congratulate Brad for being, ballsy enough to say what was on his mind. But I think he should have taken a chapter from his own book in this situation and just be like, all right, today's gonna be Mark's day, and just let it be Mark's day. You know what I mean? And continue to slide towards the final with some security. But it is what it is. Because again,
Okay.
he goes to try to
Okay.
take it and he don't even get
Because
it anyway.
but see, this I got. I'm gonna touch on that, but we go. I'm got. I want to respond to that. But let me say this. So to keep recapping, and then we're gonna finish that. The men go first, and then
Yeah.
MJ, he realizes what's happening. I'm sorry. He realizes what's happening, so he teams up. Jordan teams up with MJ to get at the Brad. I'm like, they're paying tit for tat. But yes. goes for West on his own because yes, it's a different type of breed. But NJ's the first one eliminated. And then the guys go for Jordan to
Right.
eliminate next. And then it's yes. Brad is
Okay.
frustrated because
That's
he's not
right.
even allowed. Brad is frustrated because he's not even allowed to go for the win without pissing off his allies. And Mark starts walking around, not really doing it much, but he's guaranteed to win anyway. So for Brad, it's like, okay, I get there's a plan. But at the end of it, he's looking at it like I can still go in because of people who are in power. And because how MJ is pissed off at
Yeah.
him. So that's a different situation where it's like I get what everyone said, I get the plan, but to me, it's not the sauce. He's lost in it because he's like, look, I gotta look out for myself because you guys are covering each other. That's when he came to West and West like, look, bro, in real life, we brothers, we cool like that. I will fall on the sword to make sure you don't go in because Brad is grinding for more
Yeah, but you
than
gotta you
just.
gotta choose when to you take the information that you know.
Mhm.
But I offer this, and I shouldn't even use the word "but" because "but's" not necessary. You take the information that you have about the circumstances that you're in, but then you gotta pick and choose when you reveal that. Like, was this really the right time to get mad at that? I don't know. I probably wouldn't have made that move myself unless a salad was involved. But with no food involved,
Right.
like I said, I think he I think we all know that that's my Achilles heel. Some good
Okay.
food or
Right.
other things. But in this regard, I think Brad's competitive nature, I think he tries to justify it by talking about, and please excuse me, audience, as I collect myself. Like I said, I ride for Kamisha. And sometimes that means, how back in the day when you was young, somebody would have a bike and you would trail them and they would trail you because you only got one bike. Yeah, well, we only got one bus in my house of five. So sometimes we got to trail the activities and the
Ain't nothing
tasks
wrong with
at
that.
hand.
It's kind of perfect for it because you be on a
But
challenge,
and
you
anywho,
on the bike.
oh look, I told you that the challenge beast woke me back up. I would love to see another challenge in shape, but even if I never see another challenge, man, my aunt, I have an aunt that just completed this bike ride, the DC bike ride, about a little over, I think it's now 2 months ago now, it's June, but she completed that. And when I saw my aunt, who was an All American, when she was in college, you know, get back on that bike and do all of that. And that's on my best friend. She did a 13-mile marathon. I was like, yeah, no matter what happens, Yana's gonna get it back. Yana's getting it back right now. So like I'm remembering all of who I am. So that's why like I said, I get my gear on. But yeah,
No,
like I said, I think in
I
that
want to see you
moment,
back on there.
Brad forgot.
Mm.
He says he justifies, him being upset with giving Mark the win with why his why as to why he's here. Well, look, if your why is so important, what I mean. At the end of the day, even if you think you're gonna grab it, it really takes a ballsy person when you got three people that are like, "This is our plan," and they tell you, "This
Right.
is our plan," and you like, "What? Fuck that plan. I'm gonna try to get mine." Then guess what, baby? You better get yours, because if you don't get yours, now you got four
Oh, I
people
get it. I
like
agree with
gunning
that.
for you.
But I
So
agree
that's
with
a
that.
that's
But do
a
you
that's
see what he
a
was
that's a
saying
ballsy
though?
move.
But do you see what
Hmm?
I'm saying when he feels like he putting himself in a position where he can get voted home? So anyway, so
Yeah,
Mark pretty much
absolutely.
he Mark pretty much gets the win. Wes Derek and Nehemiah get eliminated, and Brad, gets worried that see, this is the thing about Brad, and I think if this element wasn't a part of it, I don't think he would have reacted as crazy. And I would probably say with you, he's probably doing too much. But Brad gets worried that MJ will call him out for the elimination opponent instead of
Oh,
giving
because they
up.
know that.
Because
Okay,
remember,
I see where you're
yeah,
going with it. So it's like,
that's
boom, MJ goes straight to the elimination, and MJ is
right.
thinking that it was because of Brad anyway. So Brad
Yes.
gets thrown. So Brad is sitting back like, I got to get this win, so that when MJ goes in, he
Right.
can't choose me.
Right.
I
Because it
see
clicked
you. I
to
see
him.
you.
It
That's
cl- it
that's
click
why I
it.
rock with you. That's why I rock with you. Okay,
I'm
okay,
telling you,
all right.
it clicked in his
I
head. You could
acquiesce to
tell
that.
in the middle of the challenge. You could tell it clicked in his head like, oh snap! Right when he saw it happening, then he started going for it. You can watch the episode and rewind it. There's a point where he really starts
Right,
hustling
right,
for it because he's worried. It's not like I'm trying to win with a win or forget the team. He's worried about this. He's worried about that. So instead of
right.
giving up, so he said, I started to try to, I put my notes, start fighting for his life. But Mark gets the last ring anyway and wins because everyone helped him throughout the entire challenge. And that's being real.
I agree.
So
I agree.
the women went next, and the treehouse. Now look, the treehouse.
And I'm still
They
here
kept,
with you.
no, you good. And they start saying treehouse the whole time. Treehouse. I was like, ooh, I ain't never seen that.
Oh my
I,
gosh, Ronnie was like, Treehouse, don't come for
bro,
me. Like, look, I'm gonna love you, but
and
don't come for me.
that ring. I said, oh my god, that girl. She is a competitor because at first I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was sleeping on her. I was. So the target was Beth was the first victim. Jonay was the only one. I think Ronnie was the one that took her out. Okay. Now Beth is talking mess, saying that she's a cheater. Okay. Kellyanne and Naya get eliminated. The authority has to pick two for the elimination, and those two players get to pick the opponents when they get to the arena. That means everyone has to show up for the elimination in their uniforms because it could be anybody. It could be anybody or anyone.
Right,
This part of the game is crazy because everybody's anxiety is going to be like on 10 because everybody has to pack up their stuff. Everybody.
right,
And you being the tree house, you being part of whatever is almost irrelevant.
right.
So it's like what MJ tells Mark if he gets chosen to go to elimination, he gonna pick Brad, who is Mark
Yeah.
on the
So,
LS.
so okay, yeah. So, like, you telling me that Brad's move, he's really thinking of his circumstances. They're not really like concerned because they're like, we not Brad, and MJ not mad at me.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I think MJ picking Brad, not only is it, it's funny because MJ likes to use this word personal a lot toward other people. But at
Okay.
the same time, now here it is, your turn to do whatever. And of everybody there, Brad's gonna be the one that you choose to go into the elimination against because of, you feel slighted because he kind of came for you. He was gunning for you a little bit. I'm not surprised that Brad was gunning for him after All Stars 2. It doesn't surprise me. If you really go back to All Stars 2 and you watch the votes right before Brad and Jody go into the elimination, and you watch kind of how things play out, MJ, and again, you got to watch the show. You got to watch it closely because it's not always as explicit, but it's there. You know, people lobby for themselves, and when they lobby for themselves not to go into the elimination, what are they gonna do? They're gonna say what they say, and they're gonna say what they say, how they say it, and that it is what it is. So, like I said, it didn't surprise me. Oh shoot, my earbuds came out. Let me take off my little helmet. I'm hot.
Well, we already
You know,
know that the Sylvia
we
gonna
get
pick.
hot at 43 years old, wearing a helmet for that
I'm
time that we
sure
wear the
that.
helmet for. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But what did you think about MJ kind of being locked in on Brad?
Well, I mean, I knew what it was. This whole episode, it was like MJ and Jonay was kind of going against everybody, and the people they had was targeted. Him with Brad, it was personal. The last two episodes, he kept saying it's personal, and of course with Jonay, it's the situation with Beth with this whole thing. Yet y'all were cheating. Even MJ wants her out of there. So Sylvia knew what it was. Beth says she's a little manipulator and she's cheating on her husband MJ, and both of them don't like that. They're kind of pissed. It's like you saying this on TV. We're married or whatever, and you just putting this out there now. I don't know why Beth would say something like that. I'm not a part of the challenge circle. There are circles where you gotta be a part of where people know when they know, and it's like for me, I really hadn't heard anything. I mean, I'm just being honest. That's some deep stuff to say. The cheating.
Yo, and then okay, I don't know. Again, I cannot separate myself from the tradition upon which I was raised.
Hmm.
I cannot separate myself from my African Americanness, my blackness. I can't separate myself. And not that we are all one thing, because we are not all one thing in the African American community. At the
Yes.
same time, there are just certain rules that are ascribed to our culture.
Hmm.
I
Yes.
think that we could agree
Yes.
that when you put your name in somebody else's personal business, especially when it comes, to who and how they lay with and what that means to you, those
Right.
that I mean, Johnny really, really showed how much of an all-star that she is, because where I'm from, those are fight words.
Yes. Yes. She, because I'm
Those are
saying so.
fighting
She was
words.
very.
Like,
She was
not
very
only are
upset.
you talking about my
She was
business,
very upset.
but you're bringing my family into it. You bringing my husband. You bringing his
Yes.
his his kids and his wife. You bringing all of that to this, knowing the fact that many of us that have done reality or whatever, it's been tough. It's not like easy thing, because everybody winds up
Hmm.
kind of picking apart and getting in your business and things like
Right.
that. And so, for her to have kept her composure completely, I think also speaks to just who she is, as a challenger. Um, it. I was talking about this yesterday to Johnny Fairplay on the Reality Not Safe for Work podcast. On the Real World Homecoming, Melissa Beck and Tokyo, formerly known as David on the Real World New Orleans, they spoke to, many times as, Black people on reality shows, how we're kind of put in these lanes where, if you react to something in a way that just your average normal person would react to something, you're
Yeah.
literally like representing the entire African American race and all of these things that can be really heavy when somebody has put you through the problem to begin with.
Mm.
um, you know, Again, I don't know Beth's station in life in terms of finances. I don't know John A's station in life in terms of finances. I know she won 2 challenges back to back, so my
Yes, she
assumption
did.
is that that's comfortable. But like I said, I was talking about Steve Harvey earlier. You never know where somebody's going through. You never know where they're coming from. You never know, how rickety somebody's connection was, to certain traumas. And so for Beth to kind of play with that, to
Mm.
like make position, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. It's messy. It's harmful, and I think it's shameful for real. Because I tend to lean on a very flexible side when it comes to the decisions that married people make. I've never been married myself, not one time. I've been in exclusive relationships, but I've never been married.
Right.
Um, you know, what looks like monogamy to one person may not look like monogamy to another. But
This is
that's
true.
between all of those people. That's between consenting adults, and and unless somebody's crying, some time the trauma went down or whatever else, that's not your business to judge either way, whether it
But
happened
okay,
or
it's
it didn't
not,
happen.
Mama. It's not their business, but look, but let's just be real. I'm gonna be very transparent when I say this. Like, if you know that being close to the individual like that, and this is another, this is a male, and you are a female, people are going to say something. So you shouldn't be completely shocked. Now, Beth said it in poor taste. Yes. Was it inappropriate in one
And
of
it's
her
how
videos?
she said
No.
it. She's like, I don't like her because her morals are low because she's
Right.
doing this
Right.
thing.
It was the way she
Like
did it.
that was creating a narrative.
Because
Like I
my
said,
thing
they
is,
talk
if she
about this
knew
during
it.
the Real World Homecoming, how many times people that are in spaces of privilege, they will create completely untrue narratives to prop themselves up and to push somebody else down. The other reason why I feel like it was purposefully done in this way is because, and I talked about this on Johnny Fairplay's podcast yesterday. Yo, how many times did Beth get this girl's name wrong? How many
She
times did
did.
Beth get John A's name wrong? And it's one thing on a podcast. It's one thing that somebody get his name wrong when you got to deal with, all kinds of things, all kinds of names back and forth, back and forth. But Janae, up to this point, has won 2 All-Stars challenges, and you're on the challenge. You've been living in a house with her now for at least, a week, and you're still getting her name wrong, and she's corrected you several times. I felt like those were microaggressions. I felt like, I mean, literally, Janae could have had bad breath and she would have been talking about her bad breath. What she was doing is what happens to Black people all the time. I'm not trying to call her racist. I'm just saying what happens to us all the
Well, I'm gonna
time.
be honest.
They
Beth
they
has
they
a past.
focus on one little thing,
She has a past.
and
Ayanna,
then they
she has
use
a
that
past.
to like make somebody look like they're two-dimensional, vilify them, so that they don't have like any kind of empathy towards them or
But look,
sympathy or compassion.
but
And so I think that this time though, it blows up in Beth's face because I don't think nobody in that house is having it. Again, I don't know what MJ and John A's business is here, there, or whatever. I could just take
mhm.
what you say to me. Both of them say on this episode that ain't nothing happened.
Right, they
So if
both
that's what
do.
they say, nothing happened, then ain't nothing happened. And that's where I gotta leave the buck. That's where I gotta leave the buck.
Me
All
too.
the little chatter and everything like that. Shoot, that's
That's
again.
I agree.
MJ ain't saying that she did something to him, and she ain't saying that MJ did something to her. So that's where the buck stops for me.
And
That's it.
the wives and the husband ain't come out and said nothing. And that's what I said to the I talked about. I talked to the blogger about it. I was like, to be fair, at this point, especially with the show being taped before and we see it later, how come we haven't seen a spouse, like a husband come out and say, if you want to know the tea, or a wife saying, or even a cousin or
Or some
a friend,
divorce papers or something. And
it
we
will be
ain't
out
seen
here
none
by
of
now.
that. We haven't seen any of that. So, like I said, and even if we did see some of that, that doesn't necessarily mean
That's
that
true.
that's the reason why. People get divorced for all kinds of
That's
reasons.
true.
People
But they
stay
will
together for all
speculate.
kinds of
But they
reasons.
will speculate and say that to be, it's really not fair. Even if that was not the case, that let's say one of the relationships failed recently or whatever, they're going
Right.
to blame it on that.
Yeah.
Even if they were having problems before they we went to the challenge, they're going to blame it because for all we know, the challenge may have been a problem on their marriage, not necessarily each other. It could be deeper. It could be so many things. Him being away or her being away. It could have been a lot of things. So they're going to speculate.
All I know is this, and I can speak to it because, it was my experience. I had a chance to meet Johnny's husband and her kids like 2 weeks ago. And as far as, that meeting was concerned, again, they seemed like two, very loving people that were committed to each other. Me personally, like I said, if Ayanna got a vote in the peanut gallery of, is it true or is it untrue? I'm just letting you know my check is for X, the big red X on untrue. I don't think it's true. I think that they won a competition, you know, and that's it. And me personally, like again, I'm good for flirting with somebody that might be attached to somebody else or whatever, just off the being silly, just off the personality.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean it's because somebody flirts with you or whatever else that they're going to cross that line. And if there's some flirty energy between them two or whatever else, that's just what it is. I mean, man, people do worse with less, and they won $500,000 with each other. So come
Real.
on, y'all. That's what I'm just, that's my angle to things.
Well, let's go ahead and jump into Brad gets up in the morning and has the conversation with Wes, okay? To make his feelings known to him because he thinks that he could have won the challenge if Wes didn't make the plan to give the win to Mark. Wes, tells Brad he's willing to do, the elimination to make sure that Brad does not. And if that's what Brad wants, Wes is willing to lose. I mean, he's not willing to lose a friendship because of this game. And I was like tripping because that's his game. Wes will do that because he's come in, he made some strong friendships with him in the past, Nehemiah, and it means something to him to the point where he will go into elimination to make sure that he doesn't go in, even though he is a troll, and we all know that he is, and is still a villain. But this right here made me look at him like, okay, that's what's up. What did you think about that?
Do me a
What did you think about the fact that West was willing to go in? wanted
Wes
to go
wanted to
in
go in.
for Wes was wanted to go into elimination for his friend because Brad was talking to him that morning about.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. What do I think about that? So interesting. Again, we get into this personal versus not personal, which I struggle with this whole idea that we can use that word personally when we feel like using it. What isn't personal about dropping your entire life to fly off to an undisclosed location to in an attempt to do extreme activities and win $500,000? What isn't personal about that? It's all personal. So, for Wes to volunteer to go in, I think that it gives us a couple of things. Number one, we are affirmed on what, again, if you're a fan of the challenge, you already know Wes ain't scared of nobody, period. He's not scared of none of y'all. He
Mhm.
truly believes in his mind, and I think very warranted that he has no competition there. And when you can say, I'll go in there and really know that you're not going home, it just speaks to you've already have a vision winner mindset that this is yours. Not one time when I went into an elimination in All Stars 2 was I sitting back like scared I was gonna go home. If anything, I was like, all right, Lord, you know, be with me, be by my side to if it goes my way, to have that win. If it doesn't go my way, let me learn a lesson. But it was never like I'm worried I'm gonna lose and go home. That was never it. So you know, do I think it was really about Brad and their friendship? That's what they said. So I'm gonna take that for face value. It's not like, okay, if I were to say, oh, I'm gonna do this for my friend that I met on the last time I was on the challenge, that's different than I was the best man in your wedding. You know,
Right.
like that's different. That's different. They are truly close personal friends. So there's a whole nother layer to it that I think we do as an audience have to accept that Wes is like, look, not only do I think I can go in there and I can body anybody they put me against, but you are my friend. Like, and
Mhm.
if this is what it takes for me to show you that it ain't that, then that's what it is. Because they're friends, I do think that Wes probably intimately knows, some of the things that Brad's going through. And he
Right.
knows the truth of it, like he probably know how real it is. It's one thing to say, oh, I'm on my struggle. And it's another thing to be somebody's friend and you just right there in the thick of it. And you know what types of financial or otherwise, what types of mountains you trying to scale. So, I think he wants to see his friend do well, but he also doesn't want to see, his friend um in any way thinking that he is going to be a source of sabotage. When I say he, I mean Wes. I don't think Wes wants Brad to think that Wes will be a source of, why he doesn't get to stay to see this through. So yeah, that's what I got on that.
All right, let's get to the elimination. So when the players get to the arena, Jonay calls out Beth, as we already know already. This is the first time that Jonay's coming so hard like she has. Remember, 2015 in the Gala of the Exes, she lost. And West calls out yes, because he calls out yes. So, he talks a little noise like he's feeling okay because he feel like he's here to nurture his flame and fairness and integrity the best I can, which is what Yes said. TJ was like, this is how
Yeah.
you really feel. I was like, oh my
Right. I think even DJ kind of had like again. I love. Okay, you ever had? Okay, again, I'm not to like try to say do you go to church? Because people be like, do you go to church? I'm not even doing that, but I'm going to use the church metaphor because it's a part of my experience, and I hope people can connect with it. There's always that deacon or pastor in a church that when they get mad, they don't really say they're mad. Like they don't call that person out their name. They don't say, I'm angry. They'll say whatever their lean to phrase is so that they don't say something vile and crazy. And I feel
God.
like that's what he just did in that moment. Right? He's
Yeah.
like, I came in to live with integrity and all of that. I think he was saying that because he was like, this mother. He didn't want
Yes,
to say that.
yes, yes.
So that was his thing. And I think that he truly does believe everything that he says. I don't think that he's fake. But I think that he's just one of them people that, in that moment, even if he's feeling like, I can't believe this Bama, got me, is about to come for me or whatever.
Right.
He's gonna say it his way. He's gonna do it his way. He's gonna do it in a way that, his kids, his wife, his community can, see him in the light that they're used to seeing him in, even though in this circumstance it's so surreal and it's dystopian in a way because this ain't the environment that he's normally in. So it is what it is. This activity though, this I was trying to understand it. So it's
It's
standing on
crazy.
a ledge and it's pushing people off the ledge
They are
with
on. It's called
padded
knock
Nerf
off.
pads
No,
or
no,
something.
it's called knock off. They have these giant
Okay.
beds to try to knock their opponent off. Whoever is the last one standing. To me, like a little butter. I don't know. I don't know what devil it was. White little circles. So the women go first, and Jonay comes out. She comes out very hard. Beth looks like she's about to pass out. Jonay is pushing the peg like with all her strength, just screaming. I was like, Jonay, coming down. She say, I am not playing. So
But then
Beth,
we get this whole, oh, I don't know, maybe I'm revealing it too
Beth get hit in
early,
the face
but
and everything. I said, Lord
yeah,
Jesus.
but then we get this whole thing. I'm sorry, I had to grab the bread box so I could prop this thing up.
Gotcha.
So we working on technology, people. We working on it. We working on it. We working on it. I got my bread propping the phone up so I can finish making, of course, some salad because
Oh,
I'm
that
hungry.
sounds yum.
But but yeah, Beth quits. She after talking all that stuff,
She
she
does.
quits.
Because she said MJ was helping. She just felt like it wasn't fair that the whole house, it really and truly, she felt like everybody was for her and she didn't like that. But she wanted to
MJ could
lose
have
on
been
her own
chewing
terms.
juicy fruit gum and blowing sweet breath out into the elimination arena, and Beth would have had a problem with it.
And then everybody's pissed off. They feel like that Beth took a potential place for somebody else to be there. She took it from them by quitting like that. You got put in the room the
Man.
first night, then you end up quitting. Somebody else should have had that spot.
Nah, well, let me tell you, I don't. See, that's something I don't ascribe to. And people will say that in a minute. They'll say, "Oh, you took somebody else's place." No, everywhere in life that you are, that's where you have to be at that moment, and you're supposed to learn a lesson. I don't think that Beth learned her lesson in her Real World Homecoming. If y'all have not seen Real World Homecoming, go back and watch it. Now, mind you, Beth might see this and she might be like, "Oh, look at this Ayanna just talking this stuff about me." And you might read it like that, sister, but that's not really where I'm coming from with it. But let's go back to Real World Homecoming, which is the last time that we see Beth on television before the challenge. She has these moments where she's just out to complete lunch when it's about interpersonal relationships. Full stop. Just completely out to lunch. And I think that winds up, and like I said, go back, watch Real World Homecoming, with Dave and everything that happened with, Tammy and everything else. And specifically with the other Beth. Just go back and watch. Now, mind you, you could be a good person and have character flaws. And I think that this is one of them. You're sitting here in the middle of a competition. MJ is, cheering Johnny on, giving her little tips. But that happens all the time in the challenge. People give you tips and tricks in the challenge. And it's people can tell you the whole way to do something. But if you can't execute it, or if the other person responds appropriately to whatever it is you do, then it's not going to be your day, or it will be your day. But for her to just completely give up, because, MJ is, helping out his friend, that was lied upon, and marginalized and gaslit. Come on now, you're going to be mad at that and then just give up. So, I think that she made a play socially. It didn't go her well socially. So then she threw the physical game. And that's just what it is.
Well, so at the end of it, she ends up going home. TJ was pissed off. He don't like when you quit. We all know that. And Wes takes down. Yes, he was a really tight one, but Wes took him down. And one thing TJ said that I know Wiz didn't like, he said that he was probably his favorite human to be on the challenge. I know Wiz did not like that because everybody does love Yes.
You really think Wes was that concerned with him saying that?
No, not that concerned at that moment. At the height of his win, at the end of it, I'm talking about after that moment, he probably could care less. But imagine if at that moment in front of everybody, he's like, he just won. It was rough because Yes gave him something to work with. And at the end of it was like, you're my favorite human. All right, see you next time. I don't know. That took a little
I
bit
tell
of
you,
myself.
just to be fair, if I won, they could call the person that was going home. You could call that person, the Queen of Sheba. I'd be like, all right, Queen. See you next time. I'm just glad I'm not going home. So
I ain't got time.
I don't think it was that petty. I don't think it was just like,
Right.
I think that, but at the same time, I do think that West does have this moment of, don't come for me. And, and like I said, I have a lot of love for Yes. I don't want to come off as, so I use the word love a lot, right? And that can
Mhm.
come off as being disingenuous when it comes to the word love. But, when you almost lose your life,
Right.
you mean that shit when you say that you love somebody truly. But, I think that, the same way that I think we've talked about this before, Kamisha, correct me if I'm wrong. But if you sitting down, you playing a game of spades, you don't hate the people that you playing with, but for that moment that you playing a game with them, you gonna talk smack. You
Yes.
can see what's up. And I
Well, we have lost, but we are going to go ahead and end this anyway because that was pretty much the end of it. So until next time, this was the challenge where everything goes down, baby. Everything goes down.